Welcome, Zaslow Show 2.0. It is a Wednesday, the 27th of September. Good to have you aboard. We are part of the Believe Podcast Network and presented, as always, by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. If you've been involved in any kind of an accident, I send you to where you're going to get the money you deserve while you're treated like family. First, you call 911 after you're in an accident. Then you call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. And we all know, hey, we're just a few days away from Week 4 in the NFL. We're right smack in the middle of this week, but we're a few days away from all the football you can handle. Week 4 of the NFL, and BetOnline is your #1 information source for all your sports wagering info with all the up-to-minute stats, news, scores, matchup breakdowns. Get the latest game odds, spreads, and totals from the NFL and college football. It's at your fingertips with BetOnline's real-time updates on stats, news, and odds. From the beginning of the seasons all the way through the college football playoff and the Super Bowl, BetOnline gives you the access to the best football promotions and contests available anywhere online. Head to the BetOnline website today or use your mobile device. Get in on the action. Remember, use promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, and you get 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. So, today's actually a really cool sports day. We have a doubleheader for the Marlins, and we'll get to that in a second. So we have a doubleheader for the Marlins. The Panthers are back in preseason action. The games are not on TV. I think it's streaming, so probably not going to catch any of that. There's too much else going on. You have AEW Dynamite. Tonight's a pro wrestling night. Everybody knows that. And you have Inter Miami Houston Dynamo at 8:30 tonight. U.S. Open Cup Final. It's at Drive Pink Stadium. So Marlins doubleheader, U.S. Open Cup Final. There's a lot happening tonight. This is a big sports day. And is today the day Damian Lillard becomes a member of the Miami Heat? 50-50. Either he does or he doesn't. That's 50-50. I'm feeling good about it. So that's what's on tap here today. This is a big sports day, and we're going to have some fun. Here's what we got. So we're just a few days away from a monster Week 4, and it feels like we have a monster Dolphins game. Steve Tasker, WGR Sports 550 up in Buffalo, all-time great Buffalo Bill. Steve Tasker is going to join us on the show. We'll get to what's going on Sunday afternoon between the big AFC division rivals. AFC East division rivals, I should say. It's Wednesday, which means we get to tell you which NFL fan bases are having good times and which fan base are having hard times, Daddy. So we got that coming up as well. But I want to start here. So the Marlins, yes, I want to start with the Marlins because I want to get this out of the way. So the Marlins were gifted a solid last night as the Braves were down 6-0 to the Cubs. They come all the way back, including what seemed to be a routine fly ball in the bottom of the 8th inning with the score 6-5. Runners on second and third. Like, the right fielder airballs it. Suzuki didn't even touch his glove. Both runs come in to score with 2 outs. 7-6 Braves. They hang on and win. 1-2. Was it 1-2-3? No, they had a man on the ninth. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So the Cubs lose last night. And we know going into the final week, going into yesterday, the Marlins found themselves a game back of the second and third wildcard spots, Arizona and Chicago. Marlins own the tiebreak against both of them. So, with last night's Cubs loss, Diamondbacks won. The Marlins, they didn't play yesterday. So, and like I said, we'll get to that in a second. So the Marlins are a game and a half now back of the #2 spot, Arizona, and they are just a half game back of the #3 spot, Chicago Cubs. The Cubs have 2 more against the Braves, and then this weekend, the Brewers, who clinched the NL Central last night with the loss from the Cubs. The Diamondbacks, they have the White Sox, who are terrible, and then they finish up this weekend with the Astros, who are in a division title race with Seattle. So the Diamondbacks' final 3 games are very tough. The Cubs, their remaining 5 games now are very tough. The Marlins have a favorable schedule between the Mets and the Pirates this weekend, but the Marlins were thrown a major wrench yesterday by the Mets and an incompetent organization, incompetent grounds crew. Was there shenanigans going on? I don't know. But there was some type of storm there over the last couple of days in New York, and they did not take care of the field at Citi Field. They did not take care of the field properly. So what winds up happening? Like, here's what's going on yesterday. I'm watching television with my wife. We're in the Zaslow Mansion family room. We're watching on the big TV. So on the small TV, all right, it's 7:10. Let's put on the Marlins game. So I got the Marlins on. And, okay, the game is delayed. All right, but we're like an hour later, and I haven't seen a single raindrop. Why aren't we playing this game? I have the game on the small TV. And so the field was not properly taken care of the previous day from whatever storm where they left the tarp on, they didn't take it off, let the field dry. Like, the field was ruined yesterday. They couldn't get it done for the game. Did the Mets do this on purpose to fuck the Marlins? It's not out of the realm of possibility. That's a Bush League organization. Everybody knows that. Did the Mets screw the Marlins on purpose? And now the Marlins have a doubleheader today. The second game was already scheduled to be a bullpen-only game. We know the Marlins starting rotation is in shambles right now, so the second game was going to be a bullpen game anyway, and now you have a doubleheader. Did the Mets purposely screw the Marlins yesterday? Not out of the question. So that's super aggravating if you're a Marlin fan. Now, it's cool where, okay, today's a really big day. Every one of these games are huge, and we got a doubleheader for the Marlins. But it's only cool if they win that first game, and then you have a chance to take the second game as well. You'll lose that first game, and then you're super aggravated because now you have a bullpen game, and if you lose both these games today, you got a bad situation because the Marlins probably got to go 4-2 in these 6 games. And either the Cubs, who are already on 1, or Diamondbacks have to go 3-3. They're already 1-0. If you lose both these games today, you probably feel like you got to go 4-0 the rest of the way. So getting that first game, and it's a straight doubleheader, 4-10, and then they're going to go right into the next game. If you get that first game today, you're in a good spot. If you lose that first game this afternoon, you could be in a really shitty situation heading into the weekend. And look, this week, and we don't talk a ton of Marlins here. You know, we're watching on the periphery, but this is a huge week for the Marlins. I was telling my son yesterday, you know, the Marlins have only made the playoffs in a 162-game season, like a real season, 162-game season. The Marlins have only made the playoffs in a 162-game season twice in their franchise history. Now, when you look at those 2 years, in 1990, both years they were wild card. But both years, they had the wild card not sewn up going into the final week, but they were getting that wild card. They were leading the wild card. They were really good. We knew they were getting the wild card unless something catastrophic happened in the final week. The Marlins have had other weeks where they've been alive going into the final week, but it was like, all right, we're 5 games back with 6 to play. So you're alive, but you're not really alive. I don't remember another Marlins season where they're 1 game back with 6 to play going into the final week of the season like they are this year. This is a really unique... Now, if you're a halfway decent baseball team, you should have years like this every now and then. The Marlins have been a dreadful franchise forever. Everybody knows that. So this is a really unique final week of the season. Got to get that game at 4:10 today. So I'm going to be dialed into that. Now, before we get into the Heat stuff here, let's talk about the Dolphins, all right? And then we'll do Dolphins, then we'll do Heat, then we'll get to Steve Tasker, all right? So we have a Zaslow Show 2.0 poll today. Today's Zaslow Show 2.0 poll, go to @Zaslow Show on Twitter, and you can vote. Here is the poll question. All right. Zaslow Show 2.0 poll, this weekend's game is bigger for the, and your answers are, Dolphins or Bills? Who is this game bigger for? And right now, with 72% of the vote, you guys are saying this game is bigger for the Dolphins. So I think a lot of what you're going to hear over the next couple days, and are probably starting to hear, it's bigger for the Dolphins because the Dolphins lose and it's the same old Dolphins. No, it isn't. That attitude is ridiculous. We're only in week number 4, but if you think this team is the same old Dolphins, and you got a taste of it last year when they started 7-3, offense was great, Tua was in the MVP conversation. If you think the Dolphins have to go into Buffalo this weekend to win for it to not be same old Dolphins, open your fucking eyes. You are not paying attention. This is clearly not, no matter what happens this weekend, the same old Dolphins. I couldn't disagree with that take more, that this is potentially the same old Dolphins if they don't win this weekend. We have already seen this is not the same team. What about what you've seen so far would tell you, no matter what happens this weekend, what about what you've seen so far winning a shootout at the Chargers, winning at New England convincingly, and scoring 70 points. But winning in Buffalo in week 4 is what's going to prove this is not the same old Dolphins? No, don't buy it. Nope. The Dolphins are not going undefeated. Losing at Buffalo is not a reason to sound the sirens that this is the same old Dolphins. But from the other side of things, if the Dolphins go in there and beat the Bills down, or just beat them, whatever. If the Dolphins go in there and beat the Bills, then it becomes, whoa, this Dolphin team is a menace. This team is unstoppable. For me, I know 72% of the vote is saying this game is bigger for the Dolphins this weekend. To me, this game is definitely bigger for the Buffalo Bills. The Dolphins are not going undefeated. Losing at Buffalo, a Super Bowl contender, there's no shame in that. It's not like, I'm really down on the Cowboys and what they, couldn't do last weekend in Arizona. That to me feels like same old Cowboys. The Dolphins going to Buffalo and losing to the team that everyone thinks is not only going to win the AFC East, but a Super Bowl contender. There's no shame in that. Losing at the Bills in week 4 does not make you same old Dolphins. But if you go into Buffalo this weekend and win that game, that is a major eye-opener for the rest of the National Football League. Oh, Zazzle, are their eyes already open? They just scored 70 points. Look, that game had a lot to do with Denver being terrible. It had just as much to do with the Dolphins being amazing, but you don't score 70, you don't win by 50 without the other team playing a major role of futility. All right? Yes, the Dolphins have everyone's attention, but this game to me, if the Dolphins go into Buffalo and they win this game, then it becomes, holy shit, this is a very, very serious team. This game to me is much bigger for Buffalo. This game, the whole prove you're not the same old Dolphins. They've already proven that. They've proven it over the last year plus. This game doesn't have anything to do with past Dolphin teams. Same old Dolphins is garbage. That's done. This is already not the same old Dolphins. This year, and this game in particular is in Buffalo. If the Dolphins win this game, they tag the Bills with their second divisional loss already. They lost the first week at the Jets. The Dolphins would have 2-0 in the division. On top of that, the Bills would then be 2 back of the Dolphins and chasing them the rest of the season with Week 18 in Miami. They would fall 2 back of the Dolphins right now, really 3 back of the Dolphins because the Dolphins would own the tiebreak, and then the next game is the last week of the season. So, and it's in Miami, of course. This game, to me, is so much bigger for the Buffalo Bills. Now, if the game was in Miami, I would feel different. The game's in Buffalo. The Bills already have a divisional loss. The Dolphins are this super high-scoring team. Buffalo cannot afford to fall too back of them and lose the initial tiebreak at home at this point in the season. This game, look, 72% of the vote, you guys are saying the Dolphins game is much bigger for the Dolphins. I disagree. I do not agree. This is not the same old Dolphins no matter what happens this weekend. They're going to lose games. Losing at Buffalo would be a game where it's like, yeah, all right, I can see that. And on the Bills side of things, they have a lot to lose this weekend. They are playing catch-up the remainder of the season, the Buffalo Bills, if the Dolphins win this game this weekend. Look at what the Dolphins have after this week. If the Dolphins win this weekend, Dolphins move to 4-0. Then, and they're 2 up on Buffalo, they're 2-0 in the division. The Dolphins are then hosting the Giants, probably without Barkley. Who cares even if they have him? They're hosting Carolina after that. And then the Dolphins go to Philadelphia, Sunday Night Football, super tough game. If the Dolphins win this weekend, the Dolphin fan is staring 6-0 right in the face. Losing in Buffalo is an acceptable loss. Buffalo, though, loses this game. You're 2 back of the Dolphins, 2 losses in the division, 1 of the losses at home to Miami, and the Dolphins have a chance, schedule-wise, to get to 6-0. Yeah. This game means a lot more for the Buffalo Bills this weekend. A lot. You cannot convince me otherwise. Game means a lot more for the Buffalo Bills. Oh, it's so exciting. When I was a kid, the big game every year was always the Bills. I tell this story every year. Well, it's not a story, but I make this point every year. If I had the chance to go to one game every single year, that game was always the Buffalo game. The Dolphins' schedule comes out. Me and my dad take a look. We didn't have a lot of money. Maybe we can afford to go to one game. When are they playing Buffalo? That's the game we want to go to. And Buffalo's been good for 5-6 years now, whatever it is. The Dolphins are good now. And this weekend, this is what it feels like. This is what it felt like every year, twice a year, throughout my childhood when the Dolphins were playing the Bills. Bills were always good. Dolphins were always good. These games were always huge. And this is how you know it's not the same old Dolphins. Because this is a huge game this weekend with the Buffalo Bills. That's how you know. That's how you know it's not the same. So, man, this is the game this weekend. And I know, look, if they were able to do flex scheduling, this game would be Sunday Night Football. Like, what's Sunday Night Football this week? Let me see here. Hang on. Everybody calm down. Sunday Night Football, Jets and Chiefs. I mean, again, like, it's enough of Zach Wilson in primetime. We don't need to see this. Yeah, like, Dolphins-Bills is absolutely the game of the weekend. Let's see what else we got. All right, it is Dolphins-Bills. Thursday Night Football tomorrow, Detroit-Green Bay. That's a good one. It's not Dolphins-Bills. What else is good here? Baltimore-Cleveland. It's not Dolphins-Bills. What else? New England-Dallas. Not Dolphins-Bills. Monday Night Football, Seattle-New York Giants. Dolphins-Bills is easily the best game of the weekend. All right. Let's get to some Heat stuff here. Before we do that, guys, I've been telling you about the only car dealership I personally endorse, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. Why am I doing that? Well, listen, I want to make sure if you're thinking about getting a new ride, that should be an exciting experience. If you're in the market for a new car, you can't decide where to go, I send you to North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. You walk in the showroom doors, a member of their friendly sales team helps navigate you in the right direction. They're going to ask you what you're looking for. Maybe you're looking for something big, something spacious, a Subaru SUV for the entire family. Maybe you're just looking for something reliable, a Subaru sedan to get you to and from work, your daily commute. Whatever it is, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru is sure to have the perfect model for you. And the North Fort Lauderdale Subaru promise, guaranteed most money for your trade, 3-day exchange policy, out the door in 90 minutes or less after you say yes, 100% credit approval, lifetime vehicle warranty. Shop NFLSubaru.com. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, conveniently located on North Andrews Avenue, just north of Cypress Creek Road. The building you know and the place to go. NFLSubaru.com. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. So, I don't know if it's happening today, but I told you guys this yesterday, I strongly believe the Heat are getting Damian Lillard. I think the last couple days has all been about the Blazers trying to get the chatter, trying to get the leverage. I don't think Toronto's a real player. Damian Lillard would never want to go to Toronto, not because it's not a good city, but if you're going to play for a bad team, like Toronto doesn't become a title contender. Damian Lillard loves Portland, but he wants out of Portland because he wants to play for a title contender. Toronto doesn't become a title contender with Damian Lillard. Miami does. If he was going to go to another team and not be a title contender, he'd stay in Portland. And that's not a mess that Toronto is going to want to deal with. It's not a gamble that Toronto is going to want to get involved in. Okay, maybe they don't want to re-sign OG Anunoby as a free agent after next year. All right, use him to get someone in trade who you could keep on your team and build, not a disgruntled star in Damian Lillard who's going to want out. There is no way you convince me that Tyler Hero, they're not going to be able to keep Tyler Hero. I know we're holding out this hope that they're going to be able to keep Hero. There's no way. There's no way. There is no way you convince me that Tyler Hero, 2 first-round picks, it'll be 2028 and 2030. And I'll get to why in a second. And by the way, those are good picks because whoever Portland trades Damian Lillard to, they're going to be really good, right? As long as it's a title contender. They're going to be a really good title contender. So if you get their picks in 2024, let's say, in 2026, they're going to be in the low 20s. But if you take the Heat's picks, which are the only ones right now they could trade, 28 and 30, Lillard and Butler are not going to be on the team anymore. Those could be really good picks for the Blazers. Anyway, you cannot convince me that Tyler Hero, 2 first-round picks, and 1, not both, not 3, 1 of their young good guys, so Jovic, Jaquez Jr., or Caleb Martin, is not a good deal for Damian Lillard. It is. Lillard is 34 years old. He has over $200 million left in his contract. If Portland doesn't recognize that this is a good deal, the owner needs to step in and fire Joe Cronin. It really is that simple. That is a good deal for the Blazers. Now, should the Heat have to give up 3 first-round picks? I don't believe so, but let's say they want it. Let's say that's what gets the deal. Like, if that's what's holding up the deal, you do it. The Heat can unlock an extra first rounder with OKC. What does that mean? All right, well, there are rules. They're stupid rules, but there are rules. You can't trade a first-round pick more than 7 years out. That's why we can only go up to the 2030 first-round pick. You also cannot trade first-round picks in back-to-back years. That's why it's 28 and 30 are the ones available that we could trade to Portland. What about the others, Zaslow? Well, the Heat owe the Oklahoma City Thunder their 2025 first-round pick lottery protected. Because it's lottery protected, the pick may not convey in 2025. If it doesn't convey in 25, then they get it in 2026, unprotected. So since we don't know technically yet which year it's going to be, the Heat can't trade their 24 first-round pick because it may be back-to-back years with 25. They can't trade their 27 first-round pick because it may be back-to-back with 26 if 25 doesn't convey. You understand? So, how do they unlock another first-round pick? Well, they can call Oklahoma City and they can say, hey, how about instead of 25 unprotected, we just make it a 25 protected, we just make it a 26 unprotected. And you would figure, okay, why wouldn't Oklahoma City do that? Wouldn't they much rather a guaranteed unprotected pick? Well, the answer to that is yes, but Oklahoma City can also be a dick about it. And it's like, all right, like you need us to help you. So what are you going to give us? Like we think that the pick is going to be protected in 25 and we're going to get it unprotected in 26 anyway. What are you going to do for us to help you out here? And Oklahoma City is totally within their rights to do that. So maybe they send him an extra second-round pick somewhere. I don't know. I can't predict the future. But let's say they do that. So they move the pick to 26, and now the Heat can trade 24, 28, and 30. So that's something that the Heat can do. That's something that, like, again, I don't think they should have to trade 3 first-round picks for Damian Lillard. But if that's the holdup, you got to do it. Like, what are we talking about here? So is today the day? Is today Damian Lillard day? My conviction is even stronger than it was yesterday that the Heat are going to land Damian Lillard. Is today the day? Will we wake up tomorrow morning and we get to celebrate Damian Lillard as a member of the Miami Heat? I do think we're getting close. I really do. Guys, let me take a moment here before we get to Steve Tasker. We'll talk some Dolphins Bills with him. I've been using Brunt Insurance for my homeowner's insurance for about 10 years now. And that's because with Greg Brunt and his team at Brunt Insurance, I'm getting the experience, I'm getting the expertise, where I know that I'm getting the most comprehensive insurance policy on my home, and I'm getting it at the most affordable rate out there. Now, maybe you're listening right now and you're not in South Florida. That's okay. Brunt Insurance, they have offices all throughout the state of Florida. #1 insurance agency in the state. So wherever you're calling from Pensacola all the way down to the Keys, Brunt Insurance has you covered. And not just homeowners insurance. I get my homeowners insurance with Brunt Insurance, but they specialize in home and auto and life insurance. Do you need for your motorcycle, for your boat? If you don't own your home, renter's insurance, condo insurance. The point is, if you're looking for affordable care and the best coverage out there, you're making the right call. 954-589-2204, bruntinsurance.com. There's so many options out there. It's going to make your head spin. You can't do it on your own. Don't worry. Brunt Insurance specializes in making all the confusing options out there crystal clear. Brunt Insurance, 954-589-2204, bruntinsurance.com.